Hey, happy
Happy
Monday.
Monday, guys.
For some people, it's a mindful Monday. Others, it's a motivational Monday. But if you are with us on Say That channel, you know that it's another Monday rundown. This is
Absolutely.
where Winston and I get to talk about all the things that we don't get to talk about on our Wednesday shows. Um, and we're really excited to bring to you guys another topic. Typically, what we do is when someone has a question, they send it to us, keep sending us your questions, and then we answer it. But then we look to other content creators, other thought leaders on the topic, so that way we can all learn together. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Guys, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification so you guys know, like Janelle said, when we have content on Mondays or whether we have it on Wednesdays, so you guys are always plugged in. All right, let's jump into the topic.
Why do relationships fail? Ooh,
Down the
good
rabbit hole we go.
question. I'm so curious to hear what Winston's thought is on this. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can. Why do relationships fail? I um, I think I guess the thing that comes to mind for me is unmet and unmet and unexpressed expectations. I feel from my own experience, there were things like I don't call it to be a romantic, or I feel like I grew up at a time where romance was like a there's this idea of forever after kind of a thing. So I know for myself, I knew I grew up thinking that in terms of like what a relationship was was very movie-esque. So it's like all of the parts that you get with this person, there's these like the certain feelings, there's maybe back and forths, and there's a dating period. But then beyond that, I honestly did not know what it really looked like. And I know I did grow up with two parents in my home, but I honestly don't think I had the type of relationships where besides observing what I did, I didn't ask a lot of questions. I don't think we had very deep conversations around certain things, certainly around like how to have conflict and things like that. I actually, for a period of time, didn't think my parents fought. And that actually plays a role because when I got into a relationships, whenever I had conflict, I actually just automatically assumed that the person wasn't right for me because what I was going through with them wasn't something I saw. And I just thought, oh, this isn't what a successful or healthy relationship looked like. It wasn't until many relationships later that I learned that you do have conflict in relationships and how you deal with those things are very key to the lasting of that relationship. That all being said, the expectation part though comes from I had an expectation in the beginning of not being the case. So the relationships that failed earlier on failed because I had an expectation that I one never expressed to the other person, and maybe I did. I don't remember all of the details of it, but I certainly know I went in with a ton of expectations. I had expectations around what sex would look like. I had expectations around what financial compensation when I got to a certain level with certain people would look like. And in many of those instances, I did say something, but in a lot of it, I know that at some point I started to like just shut down and you're kind of out of it, but you're not really out of it. And therefore, then I went into the phase where I just wouldn't say anything. I'd just use all the not said things to support my reasoning for leaving. Because like, oh, these are the reasons why this person is not good. But I wasn't giving them even an opportunity to maybe even not to change those things. Or I hope that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I was going to say the exact same thing. I think the reasons why relationships fail is because of unmet expectations, and the unmet expectations are also often not said. The whatever
Yeah,
people are expecting isn't stated or made clear, and so then it feels like a huge unmet expectation, but the other person didn't even know that that was something that was expected by the other. And so that I think over time, like it happens once, okay, it happens twice, okay, but it's that repeated thing that happens over and over again without repairing it. So it happens, it's not repaired, okay, fine, that happens once, but it happens again and it's not repaired, and the other one wasn't repaired before that. It's like, so then it creates this buildup. And to your point, how people deal with that is different. some people, there's a buildup and it feels like a huge conflict. And I had a similar belief. I also grew up with a mom and dad, but I did see them fight. And I remember when I was little, I would be like, Mommy and Daddy, are you guys fighting? And then they'd say, no, we're not. And then they'd calm their voices down and try not to like have conflict in front of me. But I remember there was something about them fighting that made me feel like, oh, they're gonna leave me and leave each other. They're gonna leave each other and then leave me. Something I know as a little girl, that was like the fear, and that's why I like said something, and then they would again lower their voices, and they probably continue to fight later, just not in front of me. And so I never got to see what a resolved conflict looks like. It's just they resolved it. I never saw it.
Yeah.
And so then it was just kind of like it was over. And when I say, Mommy and Daddy, are you fighting? Then I know that worked. Their voices would come down, and then lo and behold, miraculously, it would somehow be resolved. But I never saw that. And so growing up, I just thought that like you shouldn't fight because I never knew what it was like to resolve. I just thought like you got into a fight and then that fear,
and it's
like,
supposed to fix itself.
Okay, so the relationship is gonna end, right? Like that kind of a thing. So I think it's the unmet expectations. I think it's the unmet expectations that are not said, that build up over time, that aren't resolved. And then some people do two things. Either some people shut down, and then that is like the beginning stages of an ending relationship, or some people just end it. Like they don't shut down. They're just like, this isn't working, and they just end it, right? I think that's ultimately kind of like how it ends, and why I guess it's considered a failure at that point. So and to your point, not getting the chance to like work on it, or to me, that's the resolving part. Like things don't feel resolved or worked on. And again, left when it's not worked on or resolved, and again, over time, I think leads to.
Here's what's interesting to me about even something like that. I know we have a video. It's something I think now start to look back on. It's the idea of being with a person is the idea of like molding yourself on some level to accommodate someone, right? And there's a part of me that's comfortable with that to a degree, as long as it's something that it's like if this doesn't work out, I still want to be the person who's liking this thing I'm doing, but or this act, not even like an activity. But I feel like there are people I used to go into relationships thinking you needed to like almost like lose yourself
into the person
again, just, and I'm not saying I don't want to say that anything was wrong I've done was wrong. It's just all been a part of my evolution of who I have been. So I look back on that period of time as I'm grateful that those things didn't work out, because again, I've learned a lot about who I am in all those things. So the term fail, I know I'm getting off on tangent, and we can, but just the term fail, you've learned from all relationships. And one of the things I learned is if you know what you don't like, it only makes you more concrete about the things you do like, and that's what you are moving towards. So it's easier, I'm pretty sure at this point, you're like, if this happens in a relationship, I'm good to be like, I'm out,
right?
Because you know yourself more. Whereas when I was younger, I put up with it. No, it's like, no, I'm cool with that, who I am, and therefore this thing is just not a thing for me. You're great, but for me, this, and that's the part. I used to blame the other person. That's the thing. That was my switch. It's like, now I'm like, oh no, it's just a me thing. Please understand, it is literally just a me thing, and I'm comfortable to say that to someone. Nothing's wrong with you. This is a thing that I would not like to be a part. All right, but who we got today?
Today we have our new friends at Mind and Body Health 101. I'm really interested to hear what they've got to say on the topic. They're pretty good at this too.
Yeah, they're very direct.
That's for sure. Yeah. All right, ready?
Have you ever wondered why some relationships just don't seem to last? In this video, we're diving into 5 surprising reasons why relationships fail and giving you the tools to build stronger, healthier relationships. Trust is the bedrock of any relationship. Without it, you're building on sand, and the first sign of trouble will send everything crumbling down. If you can't trust your partner to be honest and reliable, What do you really have? Suspicion can poison even the strongest bonds. Building trust starts with honesty, keeping promises, and being reliable. It's also about being willing to forgive. We all make mistakes, but if your partner is truly remorseful, give them a chance. Holding on to anger only hurts you in the long run. Trust is a two-way street. It takes time to build and can be broken in an instant. But with effort from both sides, it's a foundation that can withstand the toughest storms. Differences in priorities can trip up even the most in-love couples. Maybe one is career-focused while the other wants to start a family. These differences might not seem like a big deal initially, but they can become major sources of conflict over time. The solution? Communication. You need to have honest conversations about your hopes, dreams, fears, and expectations. Once you understand each other's perspectives, work together to find compromises. This might mean delaying certain goals or supporting each other's pursuits. The key is to find a balance where both of your needs are met. It takes effort, but it's worth it for a future together. A little difference can be good, but core values and beliefs need alignment for a lasting relationship. How do you feel about finances, children, religion, lifestyle choices? These can cause major friction if you're not compatible. Compatibility isn't about agreeing on everything, it's about understanding and respecting differences. Empathy is crucial. Try to see things from your partner's perspective. Ask questions, listen actively, and show genuine interest. A little give and take goes a long way in any relationship. Communication is key to any successful relationship. It's about expressing your needs and listening to your partner. When communication breaks down, misunderstandings fester, resentments build, and walls go up. To improve communication, practice active listening. Focus on what your partner is saying, both verbally and non-verbally. Use I statements instead of you statements to express feelings constructively. For example, say, "I feel unheard" instead of "you never listen to me." This takes the blame out of the equation and helps express feelings more constructively. Asking the right questions can uncover underlying issues and help you understand your partner on a deeper level. Ask about their dreams and aspirations. What are their goals for the future? This shows you're genuinely interested in their hopes and dreams. Another important question is, how can I be a better partner to you? This opens up communication and shows commitment to the relationship. Don't be afraid to ask tough questions if something's bothering you. So there you have it. 5 surprising reasons why relationships fail and the tools to avoid these pitfalls. Relationships take work, effort, and communication. But the rewards of a strong, healthy, and loving relationship are immeasurable. Don't settle for a mediocre relationship. You deserve a love that fulfills and challenges you. Subscribe to Mind and Body Health 101 for more insights on maintaining healthy relationships. See you in the next video.
So that was great. They brought up a lot of things, including unmet expectations as I think it was part of communication.
Number 4. Yeah.
Yeah. But I really actually liked the priorities part. That priority or identifying priorities, having different priorities can cause things to crumble. Conflict. Yeah, let's say that conflict. Trust also being the number one thing. I was like, oh man, I actually forgot about that. To me, it's like it's such an expectation that it's almost obvious. So I don't even think to say it, right?
It's inherent. I don't think anyone's getting into a relationship. I want someone to lie to me. No, you get what I'm saying? It's almost to say, even though some people, we can talk about like attract abusive relationships. In some sense, on some level, they aren't actively going, I want to get into a relationship with an abusive person. Whether their thoughts may, often obviously aren't in support of that statement. Again, I don't think we go around saying what you just brought up. I want to be with a liar. And we may think, oh, people lie, or men lie, women lie, and so on. But they're not going around going, my next man's going to be the best liar ever.
To your point, I don't think people go into it. I also think that the people who end up lying don't think that they're going to go into a relationship and end up lying. So
yeah, same could be said about people who cheat. Many people who've ever had given like interviews on that have made the very same statement you just said. I never saw myself as a person capable of this. It's like,
And
really?
well, this is my point. So it's like we go into it and think it's obvious and don't even think to say it. But I think it's actually good of them to identify it, because I think that is the number one reason why they fail is lack of trust, because it's a given. To your point, we go into it thinking this is a given. So then, like, it makes sense that that would be the number one reason why they don't last.
If we
Is
change the trust, well, I was gonna add, if we change that word to being honest instead of, it's because I was just having a conversation about this a couple weeks back about the idea that for myself, the idea of being honest with, like, I'm talking about like just completely honest. I think a thing, I'm gonna say it with anyone, doesn't really feel realistic. And because for myself that's not the case, I assume no one's completely honest with me. And I mean that meaning like moment to moment. I think there are times where for our own self-preservation, it's best to deceive someone. Then I get into a conversation. I don't want to, whatever the thing is for yourself. And therefore the idea that I know I do that, it just opens me up to, I don't believe that people, so the statement you're making, and I don't mean honest, hey, are you doing something with someone else? I'm not talking about things like that, but I just mean as a completely 100%, they tell you anything. Hey, am I bothering you right now? They just go, yeah, you're pissing me. I mean, you just always about that. I don't think anyone's like that.
I hear you. So honesty is a part of trust, but I think the reliability that they point out is also a part of trust. And so, like, if someone is also not honest and not reliable, or not reliable too, that leads to a breakdown in trust as well. So um, I still think
Some of
trust
this stuff is so,
is
yeah.
helpful. Is a
No, no,
helpful.
no, no. I'm not trying to dissuade away from any of those things. All of these things are so subjective, because even something like reliability, depending on the personality of a person, someone has a very short window if you can make very few mistakes and you're out the door, and someone else may be like, yeah, you can make a bunch of mistakes and I'm still gonna be here with you. And so all those things. You can be late a few times with some, and you get what I'm saying? Like for some people, you're late three, they have like a number. He was late this many times, this relationship is not gonna work. For them, like I said, it was earlier when we said if you know yourself, and it may not be against you, it may just be for them. They've had a history of someone else that was like that, and they've just decided, I want someone where, to your other statement, this is a priority to them. They
Yeah.
make coming to things on time, it's nothing other than just that for them. For that person, they're like, you know what, I'm really like that. I'm always on time and stuff. I'm 15 minutes early. And for me, it matters that someone else prioritizes that. For another person, it may not even be a thing. And so for each of us, we're all looking for, our person or our people, whatever I don't believe in one person for anyone, but I do believe you have things about you that you can find in other people. Oh, there was something I wanted to say to you. Oh man, when you mentioned,
Oh, I wanted to
it'll
also
come.
just chime in about the fail. I was feeling that too. At one point, I was
Oh,
like,
go
oh,
go go.
this fail thing. I also always feel sensitive about that. I remember when I was married and then I got divorced, and it was like, now I'm a part of the failed marriages. And I was like, I
Yeah,
don't really like this word failed. This is before you and I met, Winston, because I think you know that, right?
it
Like,
was
yeah,
a thing. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. But
did
I
before
I didn't
me.
know that. I didn't know what you just mentioned about your thought on it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm
As
saying.
someone
I think
going,
this is something we
as
haven't
someone
talked
going through that right now, I've had to change my thought on, again, I learned a lot from that relationship, and I don't think either one of us are bad people. I just think there were priorities, and even listening to this video, there were priorities and things that changed. That's what I wanted to say. Circle. There are things that can change for someone as a priority within the course of a relationship, and being able to recognize and express that is very important. I remember seeing, just to give an example, I remember seeing maybe it was a movie or a show where the woman, I guess when they first started dating, they were both set on not having kids. And then I think in the course of I think it was Four Christmases. with Vince Vaughn. The woman all of a sudden was around a baby and wanted a baby. Now, so they went into this with this certain priority and expectation. And for one partner, it shifts. And I've seen other movies like this, but for anyone looking at Four Christmases, a very funny version of it. But it changed for her, and they showed you how, to the point Janelle made about the conflict, they found themselves about to step away from it because it was literally the thing they both said. It was like, this is our, one thing. Like for Janelle and we're entrepreneurs, or I'm looking for a person who's, Harry Potter, like whatever the thing is. And then that thing for that person shifted, and it was a devastating part of that movie, or their part of their life. So I could understand that. That's a big thing. Being able to recognize that may change. You may start out, hey, this is us. We're going to do these things. And then for one person, something about their life may change, or they themselves may just make another life choice or want to make another life choice. But this is a great question.
I love this.
This is an onion question.
Yeah, right.
Where we could open one thing and then you can go down, like I said, the rabbit hole with
100%. Well, let us know your thoughts. If you thought this was helpful, was there something that the video brought up from health and body, mind and health? Oh gosh. Is there
mind and body health? Mind and body health. Because I know the health is going to end with a double H. There you go.
Mind and Body Health 101 that you really agreed with that we didn't bring up. Let us know in the comments. We want to hear it. But we're going to see you next Monday. That's it for us. But as always, remember, you deserve the good life. Say that.
Say that. We'll see you guys.